Hey y'all, my name is Jordan Felix. I am a realtor out here in North Texas. And this video right here, the purpose of this is I'm looking to update you as a buyer on some of the recent changes that have happened, whether you've heard about it in the news or not, hoping to clear up some of that. I will say up front as a disclaimer, this information is provided video for general information purposes, it does not constitute as legal advice. While I strive to ensure the accuracy and completeness of the information, I make no guarantees. Real estate laws vary by state, and the information provided may not apply to your specific jurisdiction. For personalized legal advice, please consult a qualified attorney. That out of the way. Now, what happened? There was a settlement agreement. The National Association of Realtors reached a settlement to end litigation related to broker commissions and pending court approval. It's going to go into effect here August 17th. You can definitely check the National Association of Realtor website for a whole bunch more information on it. But here's what you need to know. Here's what changed because of it. Part of the practice changes. There's new changes to the real estate transaction that will take effect on August 17th, as mentioned, including the requirement for written agreements for buyers in both in-person and live virtual home tours. I'll talk about how that works out here in the state of Texas here in just a second. Second, communication rules. Offers of compensation can no longer be communicated on the multiple listing services or MLS, what you probably heard it as, on those platforms, but still can be made off an MLS. What that means is that we're realtors, myself, if I'm listing a home, I'm not going to be able to put, here's how much commission is going to be offered to the buyer agent. What it does mean, though, as a buyer agent, is I cannot be lazy, pick up the phone and call the listing agent, hey, what is the commission on this right now? So that I have an awareness of that and communicate that with my clients and be on the same page. And we can make that official in addendums and also in some different agreements between brokers. Some other documentation that realtors should know about. If you don't, let me know. And then buyer concessions. Sellers can offer buyer concession on an MLS, such as concessions for buyer closing costs. The seller may agree to offer compensation to your agent. It's part of what the buyer's agent commission is. This practice is permitted, but the offer cannot be shared on the MLS, as I just discussed. MLSs are local marketplaces used by both buyer brokers and listing brokers to share information about the properties for sale. It's usually where Zillow and Realtor gets all of their information. You can still accept concessions from the seller, such as offers to pay for your closing costs. So here's what doesn't change. Agents who are realtors are here to help you navigate the home buying process and are ethically obligated to work in your best interest. Compensation for your agent remains fully negotiable. It always has been, it appears it's always will be. And if your agent is a realtor, they must abide by the Realtor Code of Ethics, something that I've signed up to say that I will abide by, and have clear and transparent discussions with you about compensation. The way that I like to say is that the best relationship you can have is going to be done with clear communication. The easiest way to have clear communication with somebody you don't know is in writing. And that's where this short form comes into play, where it's a buyer's representation agreement that is a short form and a long form, but the short form makes it so that we can have quick, clear, honest communication before we start going into longer terms and longer forms of things. And then in this way, we're also then making sure we are complying with the new changes to the law. This is something new. This is something different. This isn't the way it's always been. This isn't how it's been for the past 20 years. This isn't how it's been for the past 5 years. This is something different that is changing, that is affecting everybody in the real estate industry. I want you to know as a buyer that you are going to be taken care of. You are going to be well covered. And this is an ability for us to be clear in our communication. So let's dive into what that short form is going to look like. Okay, so now that we are looking at the form, let's go through it. So we have the parties. This means that it's you as the buyer and then the broker of record. And that's where I would fill in who my broker of record is. The appointment, the client appoints a broker as client's real estate agent subject to the terms of this agreement. That means that there is something called agency being created. I'm now going to go on your behalf and go fight for you and go argue with the other agent and make sure you're getting the best possible deal I can. The definition. So this in this specific area. We are no longer just saying market area. We are not just saying the state of Texas or DFW. We are making it very clear and putting in addresses or a subdivision, counties, or zip codes, something that is very quantifiable and it has a defined end. This term is now going to be the date that we are starting to initiate this conversation and want to have this term start, which would most likely be the day of showing, especially if this is going to be this is the first time we're meeting. This is going to be the same day, and then we can have that as short as 1 week, 1 day, or we can have it a few months. However, whatever your comfortability is, you will then will be able to put that in there. The broker obligation. So this is now a couple different ways that it's going about it. The full services, that's what most people are going to be picking. The showing services means that every time that they show you a home, they're going to uh, force you to pay something. So then client obligations is that the client will must work exclusively through the broker and acquire a property in the market area and inform other brokers, sales agents, sellers, and landlords that the broker exclusively represents the client for the purpose of acquiring the property in the market area and refer all such persons to broker. Meaning that just let me go and take care of it for you. Let me go and work with whoever I need to work with to make that happen for you. The compensation. For any purchases, this is where we put in the percentage or a fixed fee. And then for leases, it's going to be percentage of 1 month's rent or the percent of rents paid over the term of the lease. So either or, however it's going to end up being, this is where we would put that in, make it clear. We have the earned in payable. Broker's fees are earned when the client enters into a contract to acquire the property in the market area during the term. Broker fees are payable either during the term or after it ends upon earlier of the closing of a transaction to acquire a property, client's breach of a contract to acquire a property market area. Closing means the date legal title to a property is conveyed to a client or the date client enters a binding lease. Meaning that if I am your realtor and I'm going to help you purchase something, and then we go under contract to purchase something, that means I did my job. And that at that point, definitely want to get paid. And the source of payment can be from the seller, landlord, agents, or the client itself to pay the remaining balance. So that could mean it's on you. But if you're working with me, we're going to be having very clear communication up front to say, here's what is being offered. Does that work? And then we can have the conversation there. And then the client authorizes a broker, and broker may instruct escrow closing agent to collect or disperse to the broker all payments payable to the broker, meaning that you're just going to let them at the closing table take care of it for you. The intermediary. The client does or does not authorize a broker to act as an intermediary, meaning that if there's another agent in my office that is listing the property, you are saying, yeah, I'm okay with you working with them, even though you're in the same office. Some clients may have an issue with that, some don't. That's what the checkbox is for. But it also does mean that we are still held to the same standards, and now we have one broker that is liable for the transaction in its entirety because both agents are acting on the broker's behalf. And so it's important also that we have in here now the broker compensation is not set by law nor fixed, controlled, or recommended by the Association of Realtors or MLS. Broker compensation is fully negotiable. Most important thing here, this is legally binding. Read it carefully. If you do not understand, consult your attorney before signing. That's going to be the biggest deal there. And then you will see a spot for the broker's information and the agent to sign, and then for you as a client to sign there. This is the short form. There is a longer form that is 4 pages long. And that one then goes into everything more in detail. But you, as the buyer on the first contact or relatively soon walking through the process, this right here is what needs to be in place to be compliant with the settlement that has happened. That's the biggest thing that I want you to understand on this, to be fully informed on what's going on, what's changing, and why this needs to be in place, but then also what it actually is so you can see what it is prior to having to be or feel ambushed at the house that, oh, I guess I have to. If I don't, I can't see the home. This is to keep you fully informed. So even if it's a no, there is still a fully informed no that you can make. All right, so then we just went over the form. Again, I want to have the disclaimer that this information provided in this video is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute as legal advice. While I strive to ensure the accuracy and completeness of the information, I make no guarantees. Real estate laws vary by state, and the information provided may not apply to your specific jurisdiction. For personalized legal advice, please consult with a qualified attorney before signing anything or doing anything. Now, the point of this video is to give you some information, general information purposes, just like I said. I want you, the buyer, to not be in the dark of what is happening. I'm going to also include links from my card so you can have all of my information and you're able to reach out to me directly for any extra questions. But I'm looking forward to seeing the home together. Thanks.